Alright, good evening, space nerds. If you made it this far, we've just transposed ourselves upon the lunar module. And now we're going to go ahead for our final align and our docking. So we're controlling this in CMC BMEGs at 1 rate 2, just because I like it a little bit better than reentry's CMC hold. However, if you do prefer the CMC hold, feel free to use it. All right, so to begin with, it looks like we need to translate a little to the right. So let's try that. Let's hit L. Remember, this is not like attitude. All right, we have to zero this out perfectly ourselves. A little bit to the right, we'll hit L. A little bit up, let's hit K. Let's hit I. And then let's zero out. Fix our roll slightly. I want you to go ahead and see something here. Yeah, we're pretty close aligned. However, it does look like we've got just a little bit of yaw in there. And it's actually because we are just yawed slightly off. There's one thing that reentry has an issue with, and that is if you're translated off like that, it is supposed to be that this white is now supposed to be not in line with the red. Reentry, however, does not give you actual translational error. And that, I believe that's because the stick doesn't stick out far enough. However, I'm not entirely sure. It could be lots of things. Could be FOV. Could be that the thing doesn't stick out far enough. And this is why I recommend that you, that you just realize that you may be off. And I recommend flying with a little bit simplified docking turned on. We can see we've already stabilized in a line of the CSM. We switched attitude 1, rate 2. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to close at 100.7 feet per second. And we're going to keep rotating and translating such that we stay in line with this docking target. Rotation and translation at the same time. So you see, it looks like we may need to come down just a little bit slightly. And then actually pitch up. Like that. Correct our roll slightly. There we go. So this looks pretty good on the old alignment now. Yep, that's looking pretty good. So we may need to come slightly to the left here. I am seeing it, the effect does work just a little bit. It just doesn't work as well as it does in real life. So I'm trying my best here. It does actually look like we need to go up a little bit and pitch down. We can go ahead and slow down our relative velocity now for that final little moment. And it just looks like we need to maybe come a little to the left. And then yaw ourselves a little to the right. And that looks to be pretty good alignment there. We can go ahead, come forward, and close in. So controls for translation, I, K, J, L, H, and N. If you have done Gemini at all, you would already be familiar with that though. So don't stress it too much. This takes some practice, so feel free to practice as much as you need. And contact. There we go. One of the things I don't like is that is actually misaligned. However, re-entry. So, yes. And you can see our lem has not contorted in some weird way. We have actually docked pretty nicely. Pretty good on the alignment. Only thing is it managed to somehow rotate itself quite a bit. But that's it. At capture, CMC mode to free, like that. Spacecraft control CMC, CMC mode to free. And then you're going to allow vibrations to dampen, approximately 10 seconds. And then you're going to go ahead and retract the docking probe. Make sure it's on retract, and flip the primary to the 1 position. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to get squeezed together. And once that's gray, we've got hard dock. There we go. Hard dock is achieved. After contact latches have engaged, barber poles are gray, or talkbacks are gray, that is. We can safe the pyrotechnics. We can safe the logic. Turn off the emergency detection system. We can open the emergency detection system circuit breakers. We can turn the docking probe switches off. And then we can open the docking probe circuit breakers. Verify PCM bitrate is low. And that completes the docking checklist. Thank you for stopping by. And again, have a wonderful time practicing the very first maneuvers you'll ever do in the Apollo spacecraft. Catch you in the next one.